Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be discussing the Bloodvine set for Warlocks in Classic WoW and talking about when do you take it off. Do you wear it in AQ40? Do you take it off in AQ40? Do you wear it in Naxx? Do you take it off in Naxx? We're going to do some simming, look at some BIS lists, and we're going to try to answer that question today. Let's get into it. So first, briefly, let's just look at the pieces. As you are probably well aware that as soon as ZG came out, all casters, and especially Warlocks, because they were really starved for hit, were really excited about this set because all three pieces, the chest, legs, and boots, have 1 to 2% hit, have a pretty high spell damage, have some intellect, and then even better, if you wear all three pieces, if you're 300 tailoring, you also get 2% crit. So as soon as EG came out, once you got access to this gear set, it really did improve your DPS a fair amount. It was definitely a lot better than the Molten Core BWL gear that you already had access to, especially for Warlocks. Not so much for like mages and Shadow Priests who have a lot of hit, but for Warlocks, this was very. I'm sure you're very excited once you got it. But now we're in on these anniversary realms. We're pretty far into AQ40. Naxxramas is on the horizon, and you're probably kind of getting sick of wearing it. Well, let's figure out, should you be taking it off now or wait till Naxx or never? Let's figure it out. So what I did to kind of determine when you should take out Bloodvine is I ran some sims. So I went to the Classic WoW Sims website and I just did a DS Ruin, which is probably the most popular rating spec for Warlock. This was their default and looks pretty good to me. Then I left it mostly default, but I changed a few things. So the notable things that you see on this screen is we're giving ourselves world buffs, minus Dark Moon Fair, normal raid buffs that you would expect to have. This is on Horde side specifically, but it shouldn't change too much Horde Alliance, very slightly because of Kings, but this is just on Horde side because I'm Horde. Normal raid buffs, normal raid consumes. I just did a 2-minute fight, and this is kind of optimum conditions for Warlock, where we have 3 Warlocks who all have like improved Shadow Bolt. So you have all 3 curses and also a Shadow Priest, so you get Shadow Weaving. So let's first look at the BIS list for AQ40 for Warlock if you are wearing full Bloodvine. You can see the items on the left. I'm not going to go into every item. It's kind of self-explanatory for the most part. But the stats are over here on the right. The most notable ones, of course, for DPS being your spell power, your crit, and your hit. So with the buffs and raid buffs and world buffs and all that, this setup has 841 spell power, a little over 34% crit, and 14% hit. Now this is AQ40 best in slot using Bloodvine. So let's run the numbers. So if you are tailoring and you have that 3-piece 2% crit, the DPS is 1030. And then all I did to get this other number was I switched tailoring to, I think, like mining, something that doesn't affect your DPS at all. And the DPS is now 1015. So you lose 15 DPS by not being tailoring and losing that 2% crit. But these are the numbers, 1030 and 1015. Tailoring, not tailoring. Now let's look at potentially, if you're going to take off Bloodvine in those 3 slots, what are you going to wear instead? So for the chest, there are 2 chests in AQ40 that both sim very, very similarly. That being the Garb of Royal Ascension, has 30 damage, 2% hit. And the tier 2.5 chest has 41 damage, 1% crit. And some spell pen. And obviously stam and into whatever. And then the legs, they're pretty much unarguably the BIS, other than Bloodvine, is Leggings of Black Blizzard from AQ20. Giving you 41 spell damage and 1% crit. And then for boots, there are 2 boot options that sim very similarly as well. being the Boots of Epiphany from AQ40. Just a big spell damage on that, 34. And then also the Bloodvine boots. Even if you're not wearing the full set, the boots are the best of the three pieces in that, like in AQ40 at least, they sim very, very similarly to the Boots of Epiphany. Whereas the Bloodvine chest and Bloodvine legs, not considering set bonus or anything, do sim worse than like the Doom Colored robes, Royal Garb Ascension, and Leggings of Black Blizzard. But as you'll see the gear setup, like I said, it's very close between 2.5 chests and Garb of Royal Ascension, but the Garb of Royal Ascension did sim like 1 DPS higher, and the Boots of Epiphany did sim like 1 DPS higher than Bloodvine boots. So this is your Abyss setup, not using the Bloodvine setup. So we just swap out for Garb of Royal Ascension on the chest, Leggings of Black Blizzard for the legs, and Boots of Epiphany for the boots. And these are all your stats. And then the notable ones being, of course, spell power, crit, and hit. It's 863 spell power, 33% crit, and 12% hit. So now, let's look at the DPS. 1023. And it doesn't matter if you're tailoring or you're not, because obviously you're not worried about any 300 tailoring set bonus because you're not wearing Bloodvine. So 1023 DPS for the Abyss no Bloodvine setup. So now let's look at all three. So I have them in order from best to worst, top to bottom. So the highest sim was Bloodvine with tailoring. And since it's the best, I'm using this as like the base stats, right? So the base setup being the best is 841, 34%, 14%. And then just moving down to, before I talk about this one, last place is Bloodvine without tailoring. And it's the same base stats minus that 2% crit, of course. And then the Abyss without Bloodvine, we gain 22 spell power. We lose 1 crit and 2 hit when compared to Bloodvine with tailoring. Of course, if you're comparing it to Bloodvine without tailoring, you're actually gaining 1% crit and 22 spell power at the cost of 2% hit. Because this is like a -2, right? So you just add 2 to this -1 to make it +1. But another notable stat is your health. Because as you may know, Bloodvine has no stamina whatsoever. All three pieces just have intellect, spell damage, spell hit, and the crit set bonus. So we're gaining 806 health with the non-Bloodvine setup. And of course, if you have kings, if you're alliance, that'll be even more of a difference, right? So one reason that people are probably excited about taking Bloodvine off eventually is that when you're in raid, your health is very low because no stamina on all three of those pieces. But just looking at DPS, Bloodvine in AQ40 is still Abyss. If you're tailoring, it is 7 DPS higher than Abyss without Bloodvine, and that is 8 DPS higher than Bloodvine without tailoring. So with that said, to answer the question, is Bloodvine still Abyss in AQ40? The answer is yes if you're tailoring, no if you're not tailoring. But the DPS difference between like Bloodvine and not Bloodvine, 7 DPS isn't that big. If you feel like 800 health is worth more than 7 DPS, which I would argue it is in many circumstances, there's nothing wrong with just taking off Bloodvine in AQ40. Certainly nothing wrong with it. But if Bloodvine is Abyss in AQ40, well, surely we take it off in Naxxramas, yes? And the answer is yes, of course. But when? And the answer is pretty much as soon as you get any Nax item for chest, legs, or boots, right? So the Abyss chest from Naxxramas is your tier 3 robe, giving you 1 hit, 1 crit, 51 spell damage. The best legs in the game in Naxxramas are Leggings of Polarity, 44 damage, 2% crit. Then the best boots are your tier 3 boots, giving you 32 damage and 1% crit. And assuming that you have like your Boots of Epiphany and your Leggings of Black Blizzard, as soon as you get tier 3 chest, you swap up Bloodvine. Or if you have like Garb of Royal Ascension and Leggings of Black Blizzard, but you don't have like Boots of Epiphany, as soon as you get tier 3 boots, you switch up Bloodvine. And the same could be said for if you, for some reason, don't have Leggings of Black Blizzard, even though you should. It comes out of AQ 20, and of course, mages want it as well, but I mean, it's a 20 mana, it resets every 3 days. It shouldn't be too difficult to get Leggings of Black Blizzard. So you should have these really going into Naxx. But if you don't, perhaps, you have Garb of Royal Ascension and Boots of Epiphany, but you don't have your Leggings of Black Blizzard. As soon as you get tier 3 boots, or tier 3, I'm sorry, not tier 3, Leggings of Polarity, then boom, switch off Bloodvine. That's pretty much the answer. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video just talking about Bloodvine because I think it's a pretty interesting topic, and not everyone is aware when you take Bloodvine off. I think a lot of warlocks think you just don't take it off until Naxx. And that's kind of right. Because yes, look, 7 DPS less than Bloodvine with tailoring. But if you're not tailoring, like I said before, it's not even your BIS right now. If you're not tailoring. And even if you are tailoring, the non-Bloodvine setup sims very similarly to Bloodvine. So there's really nothing wrong with taking it off in AQ40, honestly. But yeah, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a kind of quick one. And thank you for watching. Stay tuned for next video.